Welcome back. We are continuing our journey through the works of Genevieve Behrend, and today we're arriving at a really pivotal moment in her story.
Hmm.
It's a moment that feels, incredibly modern, even though it all took place in New York City way back in 1912.
Right.
It's the problem of wanting to make a massive life pivot, a total reinvention, but, lacking the actual resources to make it happen.
It is the classic dilemma, isn't it? The internal drive says go,
Yeah.
but the bank account says stop.
Yeah.
And usually the bank account wins.
Exactly. We're analyzing the ninth part of our series, which covers chapter 9 of her book, Your Invisible Power.
And the title is a provocative one.
It is. It's called How I Attracted to Myself $20,000. Now, I want to be really clear right from the start.
Yeah.
We are not here to talk about magic tricks. We're certainly not discussing get-rich-quick schemes. We are looking at this strictly as a historical case study.
A case study in cognitive discipline.
And attention management, really.
Right. If you strip away the language of the early 20th century, what you find underneath is a really rigorous protocol for how a person organizes their mind when external reality just completely contradicts their goal.
So this is about mechanics, not magic.
It's all mechanics.
The stakes here are surprisingly high. We should probably set the context because Genevieve Behrend isn't trying to buy a mansion.
No, not at all.
She isn't trying to buy a fleet of cars or, fancy clothes. She's a widow, she's living in New York, and she has become obsessed, in the best way, with the writings of this former British judge named Thomas Troward.
And Judge Troward is a heavy hitter in the mental science movement of that era. He was very intellectual, very dry, and notoriously difficult to understand. But Behrend connects with his work on such a deep level. She decides she doesn't just want to read his book. She needs to be his student.
So she has this burning educational mission.
A mission to go to England and study with him personally.
But there is a massive wall in her way.
A $20,000 wall. She literally sits down and calculates the cost. She factors in the steamship travel, lodging in London for who knows how long, tuition.
Living expenses.
All of it. And she comes up with a sum of $20,000.
And just to give everyone some perspective, $20,000 in 1912 is not $20,000 today.
Not even close.
If we adjust for inflation, we are talking about a staggering amount of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars in modern terms.
It's a fortune. It's the kind of money you don't just, find in the couch cushions.
And she has what she calls a stipulated income. Let's unpack that term. What does that mean here?
It means she's on a fixed allowance, most likely from her late husband's estate. It's a closed loop.
So that's enough to live on.
Enough to keep her fed and housed comfortably in New York, yeah. But there's no surplus. There's no wiggle room to save up for a massive international move.
So she has the will, she has the burning desire, as she puts it, but she absolutely lacks the means.
The material means, yeah.
So, Chapter 9 is her report on how she solved this. And the reason we're digging into it today is because her method is so specific. It isn't just hope. It's a mental mechanic.
It really is.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
So let's look at the approach she takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's calm. It's very practical. And, I think we should clarify right up front, this is an analysis of Behrend's historical account.
Right, her method.
We are not giving financial advice here,
Yeah.
and we are certainly not giving medical advice. We're just looking at how she organized her mind to solve a problem.
Okay, let's get into it. The first part, the historical case study. Behrend makes a very, very interesting mental move right at the start. She decides to treat this situation as a test.
Yes. She calls it her laboratory of experience. And I think that framing is probably the most important part of the entire chapter.
Why is that framing so significant?
Because it just removes the desperation.
Yeah.
Think about it. When most people are short on funds or facing a crisis, they panic. They go into this state of emotional emergency. Their brain creates a kind of tunnel vision of fear. Behrend did the exact opposite.
She stepped back.
She stepped back and said, okay, I've been studying these principles. This relation between divine operation and the individual mind. I've been reading the theory. Now I'm going to test it.
It sort of detaches the ego from the outcome a little bit. It becomes an experiment.
Exactly. It shifts you from being the victim of the circumstance to being the scientist who's observing it.
And because of that scientific stance, she made a pretty controversial decision.
A very controversial decision.
Yeah.
She refused to ask the practical questions first.
This part really surprised me when I read it. She didn't write to Troward to ask if he was even taking students. She didn't check the steamship schedules to see when the next boat was leaving.
No.
Mm.
She realized that if she looked at the logistics first, she'd be defeated before she even started.
Oh.
If she wrote to Troward, he might say no. If she checked the prices, she would feel the lack of money even more acutely.
So she decided she had to secure the means
The capital.
before she engaged with any of the logistics.
She had to focus on the resource first.
But if you're sitting in a room in New York needing that much money, your mind is naturally going to race. It's going to worry. It's going to come up with all the worst case scenarios. How did she stop that mental spiraling?
She needed an anchor, a way to stop her mind from wandering into panic. So she developed what we might call a core anchor statement.
This is a specific sentence she memorized. I want to read it, and then I want you to really break it down for us. She said, "My mind is a center of divine operation, and divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before."
It's a dense sentence, but every single word is doing some heavy lifting.
Let's look at the first half. My mind is a center of divine operation. Why that specific phrasing?
It's an identity shift. When you're in need, your identity is usually, I am a person who lacks something.
You feel small.
You feel small, you feel like you're on the outside looking in. This statement just flips that entirely. It says, no, I am not a needy person. I am a center of operation.
It sounds so functional, like a machine or a processing plant.
It is functional. It puts you in the driver's seat. It suggests that you are a processing center for, universal energy. You aren't creating the energy, but you are the distribution center for it.
So it takes the pressure off.
It takes the pressure off you to make the result happen and places the focus on allowing the operation to happen through you.
In the second part, divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before.
That's the directional command. It tells the mind where to look. It moves the focus away from lack, which is looking backward or looking down, and toward expansion, which is looking forward.
So it's setting a premise.
It asserts a premise that the nature of life is to grow, to improve. So logically, if her mind is a center of that operation, then her life must also expand.
It's almost like a logic gate in computer programming. If A is true, then B must be true.
Precisely. It calms the panic because it relies on a principle, not a wish. A wish feels fragile. A principle feels like gravity. It just is.
So she uses the statement to stop the panic. But she doesn't just say the words. She engages in a very specific mental picture practice. And this is where the details get really interesting. She didn't just visualize being rich.
No. Being rich is way too vague. The brain doesn't know what to do with rich. Behrend understood she needed a mental mold.
A mold.
Yeah, imagine pouring liquid metal into a cast. If the cast is fuzzy or shapeless, you just get a blob. She needed a sharp, clear mold.
So what was her routine?
Every night, consistently, before she went to sleep, she visualized a specific sequence of events. First, she visualized the action of counting money.
Not just seeing it, counting it.
She saw herself counting $21,000 bills.
Like counting? Why not just see the stack of money on a table?
Because counting is tactile. It involves motion. In her mind, she's handling the paper, she's flipping the corner, she's making it concrete. It recruits the motor cortex of the brain, not just the visual cortex. It makes the imaginary experience feel real to the nervous system.
And she didn't stop at the money.
Right. The money was just the fuel. She extended the narrative. She saw herself buying the steamer ticket to London. She saw herself boarding the ship. She visualized the ocean, the smell of the salt water, the sound of the waves.
And the end point.
And critically, she saw the end point. She saw herself being accepted by Troad.
So she created a movie in her head.
She created a memory of the future. And the key here, the thing most people fail at, is consistency. She did this every single night.
Every night.
She says the picture became a thought mold. If you change the picture every night, if on Monday you visualize a check, and on Tuesday you see gold coins, and on Wednesday it's a bank transfer, you are constantly breaking the mold. You never let the unformed energy, as she calls it, set into a shape.
Now, this sounds great in theory, but I imagine the hardest part is the doubt. That little voice that asks, okay, Genevieve, that's a nice story, but how is this actually going to happen?
And that is the key restraint. Behrend is very honest about this. She says the most difficult discipline was not the visualization itself. It was restraining her mind from obsessing over the avenue.
The avenue meaning the how.
Right, the how. She had a fixed income. She had no rich relatives about to die. Logically, there was no path. If she looked at the facts said impossible.
But she had to discipline herself to not look for the path. That seems so counterintuitive. I mean, usually we're told to make a plan.
In her framework, making a plan when you have no resources is just planning for failure. She had to restrain the anxiety of the how. She writes this beautiful analogy about it.
Yeah.
She says, if you are certain a friend is coming to visit you, you do not sit up all night worrying about which train they're taking. You don't pace the floor, wondering if they have a flat tire.
You just prepare the guest room.
You prepare the guest room. You have the certainty of their arrival, the how, the train, the car, the flight. That's their business. That is the friend's responsibility. She had to treat the money like that visiting friend.
That is a powerful analogy. Tension drops when certainty enters.
That is the shift. Strain comes from trying to force a specific door open. Certainty comes from knowing the guest is on the way.
So what was the result? Did it work?
The timeline was about 6 weeks. She kept this practice up for 6 weeks. And then the outcome appeared.
An unexpected avenue.
An unexpected avenue opened up. We don't need to get into the messy legal details, but essentially, a financial opportunity appeared that she had not foreseen at all. The money, the $20,000, became available to her.
And she draws a very crucial lesson from this. It isn't just, yay, I got the money.
No. She emphasizes that the direction of the circumstance is more important than the magnitude.
What does that mean?
She says that often, the opening looks small. It looks like a little crack in the door, not the whole door blowing off its hinges. But if you follow that direction, it leads to the magnitude.
This leads us perfectly into the next part of our discussion, the missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of people try this, they visualize, they say the affirmation, and then nothing happens. Or they think nothing happens. Behrend calls this the concept of the sprout.
This is the failure point for most people.
Right.
They are visualizing a giant oak tree. They wake up in the morning, look in the yard, and they don't see a giant oak tree. So they say, well, it didn't work.
Right.
But they miss the tiny green shoot that just broke through the soil. Behrend calls this the direction clue, the first sprout of the seed.
So what does a direction clue look like in real life?
It's often really mundane. It might be a conversation you overhear, a phone call from an old contact you haven't spoken to in years, a sudden impulse to go to a specific place or read a specific book. It's a small event that just feels aligned with your picture.
And the rule, according to Behrend, is what she calls the rule of calm follow-through.
Right. Leave no stone unturned. When that clue appears, you must act. You have to walk through that little crack in the door. But, and this is the nuance that everyone misses, and I really want to stress this, you must do it without excitement.
Wait, without excitement? That just stops me in my tracks. If I've been visualizing $20,000 for 6 weeks and suddenly I see a path, shouldn't I be thrilled? Shouldn't I be jumping up and down?
Behrend says absolutely not.
Why? That feels ungrateful or something.
It's not about gratitude, it's about belief. Think about the psychology of excitement. That high manic energy usually implies disbelief. If you're shocked that it's working, it means you didn't really believe it would work in the first place.
That is interesting. You know, if I turn on a light switch, I don't jump for joy when the light comes on. I just expect it to come on.
Precisely.
Yeah.
If you flipped the switch and screamed, oh my God, the light came on, people would think you were crazy. Why? Because the light coming on is the natural, expected order of things.
So calmness implies alignment.
It implies expectation. If you get manic and excited, you're actually disrupting the mental mold. You're introducing a chaotic vibration into it.
So if you freak out, you're basically telling your subconscious mind, this is a miracle, this never happens.
Exactly. And the subconscious says, oh, you're right, this isn't normal, and it shuts the whole thing down. The principle is to act on the next indicated step. That's it. You see the sprout, you water it. You don't yank it out of the ground to see if it's a tree yet.
So it's about staying cool.
It's about calm satisfaction. That's the phrase she uses. It's a quiet confidence.
Okay, let's move on. I want to translate this into modern plain English.
Good idea.
You know, for people who might be thinking, this is great 1920 philosophy, but how do I use this today? My boss is yelling at me. My rent is due. How does this fit? We've distilled this down to 5 translation points.
Let's run through them.
Translation point 1, don't chase 10 methods at once.
This is the modern curse, isn't it? Information overload. We try a visualization on Monday, a different affirmation on Tuesday, a vision board on Wednesday, and by Thursday we're trying a chant we saw online.
Right.
Behrend had one objective study with Troard and one method. It just scatters the energy to switch constantly. Pick one thing, stick to it.
Translation point 2, choose one clear picture and hold it steadily.
Do not change the channel. If you're visualizing a new career, don't visualize being a doctor one night and a lawyer the next. The mold needs time to set. The universe can't fill a shape that keeps shifting. You have to be boringly consistent.
Translation point 3. Stop emotional wrestling.
This goes right back to the anchor statement. My mind is a center of divine operation. You use that statement to kill anxiety, not to plead for help.
You're not begging.
You're not begging a distant deity. You are recentering your own machinery. If you're wrestling with doubt, you are not in the state of receiving. You are in the state of fighting.
Translation point 4. Watch for practical next steps.
The answer rarely looks like a lightning bolt. It usually looks like a mundane task. It looks like I should probably update my resume, or I should call that old colleague I haven't spoken to in 3 years.
It's a whisper.
It's a whisper, not a shout.
And translation point 5. Take the step, then return to calm.
Action relieves the pressure of waiting. If you're just sitting there waiting for the money to drop in your lap, you build up so much tension. When you take the small step, when you follow the clue, you release that energy constructively. You're telling your mind, see, we're moving.
I want to make this even more concrete. Let's look at 3 examples of how this applies to different areas of life. Because Behrend used it for money, but she says the principle is universal. So let's start with work or career.
Yeah. Let's say someone wants a promotion or a new role. They feel stuck in middle management.
What's the practice here?
First, the picture. Instead of carrying around the anxiety of, I hate my current job or my boss doesn't respect me, they hold the outcome.
The end result.
They visualize sitting in the new office. They see the signed contract. They feel the handshake. They smell the coffee in the new break room.
And the proof action, the
Yeah.
direction clue.
This is the bridge. Maybe a small project comes across their desk. Something messy, something nobody else wants to do. That is the direction clue.
And most people would complain.
Most people would complain. The practitioner executes it. And they do it with high quality and zero complaint.
Why zero complaint?
Because they don't see it as extra work. They see it as the bridge to the boss's chair. They act with the dignity of the position they want, not the position they have. That aligned action is the proof of belief.
That's good. Okay, what about example B? Relationships. This is a big one. A relationship in turmoil or just a desire for connection?
This is tricky because the emotions run so high. But the source material talks about this metaphor that relationships are journeys. So the practice is to visualize the relationship as a smooth journey.
So if you're in a conflict,
If you're in a conflict, stop replaying the fight in your head. Stop rehearsing your angry speech. Visualize a scene of calm connection, a quiet dinner, a shared laugh.
that is hard when you're angry.
Extremely hard. That is why it's a discipline.
And the proof action in that case.
Calm, repair. Instead of the big emotional speech to fix everything tonight, you take one small repair action.
Like what?
Maybe it's just a kind word. Maybe it's listening to one sentence without interrupting. And critically, you follow through without demanding an immediate reaction. You don't say, I was nice to you, why aren't you being nice back? You just place the brick in the bridge and wait. You trust the law of the mold.
Example C, habits and personal discipline. Trying to build a healthy lifestyle.
The scenario is wanting to get fit. The practice is seeing the healthy version of yourself. Not just wishing for it, but seeing it as a present fact.
And the proof action.
Simple daily routine. No drama about failing. If the direction clue suggests a walk, you go for the walk. Immediately. You don't negotiate with yourself. You replace motivation, which is an emotion, with steady execution. The walk is the sprout. You just water it.
I think we're ready for the next part. This is the guided exercise. We're calling this the picture to proof bridge. And for anyone listening, maybe try this with us right now, just mentally.
Let's walk through it.
Step first, choose one clear mental picture.
Right now, what is this specific thing? A sum of money? A
Yeah.
relationship? A state of health? Lock it in. Make it concrete. See the bills. See the face. See the object. Don't let it be fuzzy.
Step next, choose one calm feeling word.
How do you want to feel about this?
Hmm?
Not excited, not lucky. Choose a word like steady, certain, aligned, or ready, and just feel that word in your body.
Step next, remove one anxious behavior.
Identify the thing you're doing that just screams doubt. Are you checking your email every few minutes? Are you venting to your friends about how hard it is? Are you doom scrolling? Pick one thing to stop doing today.
Step next, name one small direction clue you can act on today.
Just look at your life right now. What is right in front of you? Is there a form to fill out? A text to send? A drawer to organize? What is the small opening?
And then step next. Take one proof action, then return to calm expectation.
Commit to doing that one small thing. And once you do it, sit back.
Yeah.
Don't chase the result. Just know that you have poured energy into the mold.
And step fun. Finally, close with a steady affirmation of alignment.
Return to the anchor. My mind is a center of divine operation. Remind yourself that you are the center. The operation is working through you.
That is a solid framework. But, as with anything, there are pitfalls. So let's talk about common mistakes and fixes. Where do people go wrong with this?
Mistake one is mental hurry. Behrend talks about this a lot. She says, hurry is actually fear.
How so?
If you're hurrying, it implies you believe there isn't enough time or that the opportunity is escaping. It's a scarcity mindset disguised as productivity.
And the fix for that?
Recognize it. Just say, I'm rushing because I'm afraid. And then slow down the visualization. Literally, in your mind, move in slow motion. Force your brain to relax.
Okay. Mistake two, obsessing over the how.
We talked about this. The fix is to pivot back to the what. Focus on the end result. Trust the direction clues to handle the how. Let the train take the route it takes. You just wait at the station.
Mistake three, inconsistent practice.
Yeah. Doing for 3 nights in a row, then skipping 2. The fix is just discipline. Do it every night. Repetition builds the mold. You can't bake a cake if you keep opening the oven door and taking it out.
Mistake four, getting excited or seeking those high peaks of emotion.
This is the counterintuitive one. The fix is to aim for a cheerful frame of mind and calm satisfaction. If you're looking for a dopamine hit, you're not looking for a result. You're looking for a drug. Real creation is steady.
And mistake five, ignoring the small clues.
Walking right past the sprout because you're looking for the full-grown tree. The fix is to treat the small opening, that random conversation, that little idea, as the beginning of the big answer. Walk through the open door, no matter how small it looks.
This has been a really dense session. Let's recap. We have covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, let's strip it down to the studs.
First, the power of that laboratory mindset. Testing a principle practically, not emotionally.
The necessity of the anchor statement, to organize the mind and just stop the panic.
The specific practice of counting or visualizing the concrete symbol of the goal.
The crucial release of the avenue, or the how.
The shift from tension to certainty.
The discipline of acting on direction clues without excitement.
And finally, the truth that direction matters more than magnitude. That is the roadmap.
It is. And remember, Behrend got the money. She attracted the $20,000. But that was not the end of the story.
Right.
That was just the ticket.
That is the perfect tease for our next discussion. The next part of the story is titled, How I Became the Only Personal Pupil of Trord.
The money got her to England.
Yeah.
But when she got there, she had to face the man himself.
Yeah.
And he was not exactly waiting with open arms.
He was a grumpy old genius who didn't want students.
Exactly. The next part covers that meeting with the teacher and the start of the real instruction.
You won't want to miss that. Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.